If you've ever looked up from your screen and realized that 4 hours have passed, you've been in flow state. That's where your brain clicks into a rhythm, where the challenge is perfectly matched to your skill. The feedback is instant and you just lock in. You're not just playing, you're being played, and I mean that in the best way possible. The term flow is used to describe a sweet spot between boredom and frustration. It's where you're being pushed just hard enough to stay fully engaged with all of your senses, but not so much that you're stressed and feel like giving up. Games that hit this balance feel effortless even when they're brutally difficult. If the gameplay loop is too easy, you get bored. Too hard and you'll be frustrated. But right in the middle, it's the sweet spot. Full engagement, no distractions, and just total focus. In this state, your brain is releasing dopamine at just the right intervals. Your sense of self will fade. Time distorts. You're not consciously trying anymore, you're just doing. And the best games, as the blocks fall faster, your brain will speed up to match. There's no story, no cinematics, but the loop is so tight and the feedback is so immediate that you can vanish into that game for hours. Tetris Effect leans into this even more by syncing visuals and music to your inputs, which basically induces something like a trance. It all starts with tight, responsive mechanics. A game's controls need to feel intuitive and instant. Think of how Super Mario Bros. Gives you a pixel-perfect control over Mario's jump. There's no delay, no ambiguity, and that's intentional. That's what makes speedrunners obsess over it 30 years later. Feedback is everything to maintain flow. Great games constantly communicate your success, failure, progress, and momentum. In a game like Guitar Hero, every note you hit comes with a flash of light and a sound cue. You don't just hear the music. You really feel like you're playing it. UI/UX design plays a massive role here, using things like health bars that pulse, combo meters that grow as you chain moves. In the classic Devil May Cry 3, the entire game screams when you're being stylish. That feedback loop keeps your brain firing on all cylinders. Sound is one of the most underrated flow tools in game design. In Doom Eternal, the soundtrack doesn't just play in the background. It escalates as you chain kills and push forward, rewarding aggressive play with musical violence. The game uses that to train you into a flow state. Even chill games like Stardew Valley use sound to lock you in. Every footstep is perfectly timed, giving you tiny feedback nudges that keep you centered and in the moment. While we often associate flow with fast-paced gameplay, it exists across all genres. In the classic stealth series Metal Gear Solid, flow is created through observation and planning. It's slower, but just as immersive. You learn patterns, make bold moves, and feel the satisfaction of pulling off something risky with perfect timing. Puzzle games like Blueprints can tap into your cognitive flow. They don't require fast reflexes, but focused thought for that aha moment when the solution clicks. Rhythm games like Beat Saber are basically engineered flow machines. Flow breaks when friction appears. Bad camera angles, clunky menus, unclear goals, long loading times. That's why top-tier games will sweat the small stuff. Think of God of War 2018, which famously used a single continuous camera shot throughout the entire game. No loading screen, no cuts. That's a choice made to encourage flow. In short, flow isn't just a happy accident. It's the product of very deliberate design. When a game gets this right, it becomes more than just a game. It becomes a state of mind that you will enjoy returning to again and again. But flow can't happen if a game doesn't feel right. The weight of a jump or how a sword slash can feel satisfying. That's gameplay feel, and it's a very important but very difficult to define aspect of gameplay. At its core, game feel is about responsiveness. How quickly does the game react to your input? How smooth are the animations? How clear is the feedback when you do something right or wrong? It's less about what the game looks like and more about how it moves through your nervous system. Again, a perfect example is Mario. From the very beginning, Nintendo has nailed the fundamentals of movement. Whether it's Super Mario Bros. On the NES or Super Mario Bros. Odyssey on the Switch, Mario's movement is always tuned to perfection. His jump is just right. Acceleration and deceleration feel natural. It's precise, but also playful. Mario doesn't just move, he feels alive in your hands. Contrast that with a game where the character feels sluggish, the controls are delayed. Suddenly, even beautiful games become frustrating. But responsiveness isn't the only factor. Animation blending plays a massive role. In God of War 2018, Kratos' axe swings feel heavy and impactful because of the way animations flow into one another. There's also haptic feedback and audio cues. Think about Call of Duty. Say what you want about the franchise, but the guns feel incredible to shoot. That's not just sound design, it's controller rumble, recoil animation, muzzle flashes, reload timing. The shooting feels satisfying and immediate. Good game feel is invisible when it's working and obvious when it's not. It's the difference between feeling in control and feeling held back by the game itself. Great gameplay design comes back to this question: how does it feel? Because no matter how brilliant your gameplay loop is, if the moment-to-moment interaction does not click, the player will feel the friction. Great gameplay isn't just about what you do, though. It's also when and how often you do it. That's pacing, and if the game feel is the beat of the moment, pacing is more the rhythm of the whole experience. A well-paced game will constantly shift the tempo to keep you engaged, alternating between tension and release, challenge, ease, action, and exploration. In a game like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, one moment you're battling a guardian, the next you're paragliding over a calm landscape. The game creates a natural ebb and flow that keeps your brain stimulated without overwhelming you. The pacing isn't forced, it just emerges organically from the systems. And then compare that to something like Uncharted 4. It's a much more scripted experience, but even then, the designers carefully balance intense gunfights, travel sequences, puzzle moments, and cinematic downtime. Nathan Drake doesn't just shoot his way through the game. He climbs, solves, talks, jokes, and explores. The variety prevents fatigue and keeps the experience feeling dynamic. Variety is how a game avoids becoming stale. Even in a combat-focused title, breaking up the core loop with new mechanics, environments, or twists can keep players hooked. Take Resident Evil 4. It's a roller coaster of tension. You go from fighting swarms in tight corridors to solving a quiet, eerie puzzle in a creepy chapel, then maybe a stealth sequence. The game keeps shifting what it asks of you, making sure you're never stuck in one kind of moment for too long. You get peaks and valleys, tension, calm, all perfectly timed. Even in a game like Elden Ring, which is known for its combat difficulty, pacing plays a key role. Between punishing boss fights, you get long, quiet stretches of exploration, dungeons, and environmental storytelling. You're never just button mashing the entire way through. You're thinking, discovering, and when the game throws something huge at you, it matters because it contrasts against the quieter moments. Meanwhile, a game that's paced poorly, like those with open world bloat syndrome, can burn you out fast. When every side quest feels exactly the same, when every map marker leads to some recycled activity, your brain starts to glaze over. It's not that there's too much content, it's just that the content has no rhythm. It's a flat line of gameplay that turns into a chore. Great games know how to modulate tension and reward. They shift gears, so when things come back swinging, you're feeling ready and not drained. At the end of the day, gameplay is the crucial link between player and game. It's the first impression. If that moment doesn't land, if the movement feels clunky, or the systems are confusing and dull, it doesn't matter how good the story is. It doesn't matter how beautiful the world looks. That connection has to click. Because gameplay isn't just the vehicle, it's the engine, the wheels, and the road. It's what makes games games. Whether it's a tight dance of a perfect dodge roll or the satisfaction of landing a combo, great mechanics keep you engaged. And when it all snaps into place, when the controls disappear and you're just there in the moment, you realize that the gameplay is the heartbeat. But sometimes we want a little more from our gameplay, something to take us into the realm of emotion. In the next episode, I'll be digging into narrative, the part of games that move us into feeling. Because while gameplay might get you to pick up the controller, story is what sticks with you for years to come. That's all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.